President, I rise to make a positive contribution to this place, as does indeed this government, by bringing this legislation, the Commercial and Industrial Property Tax Reform Bill 2024. And while those might continue with their negativity, as they always do, even though they support this bill, as it do indeed stakeholders all around the state and the country about what we are doing, we expect nothing less from that side. So as announced in the 2023-24 budget, we are abolishing stamp duty on commercial and industrial properties to commence as of the 1st of July. For these properties, stamp duty will be paid one final time on the property. If and when it is transacted, the new annual commercial and industrial property tax will be payable 10 years after the final stamp duty payment, regardless of whether that property has transacted again. So we are increasing flexibility for business in the place where they want to do business. This is a good change for Victorians. This is a good change for Victorian business, yet those opposite want to talk it down. It's an efficiency that we have heard time and time again is needed, and this government has the courage to come in and bring it in and bring it to this place, bring an idea, bring it to this place, while those opposites shake their heads and scowl. We are here delivering it. And that is exactly why I'm so proud of it. I think I do want to move. I do want to talk to our time. The time I have here before dinner. I've got about what have I got? About 8 minutes. I do want to talk about some of the items that have been raised opposite throughout a variety of contributions, but I will come back to that as time allows. So to smooth the transition to the new tax system, the government will give purchasers of commercial or industrial property who meet the eligibility as outlined in this information, the option of the information sheet, the option of assessing a government-facilitated transitional loan as an alternative to self-financing the upfront stamp duty amount. In this way, eligible purchasers who choose the transition loan option transition to an annual repayment from the time of purchase, freeing up capital businesses can use to invest in expanding and employing more workers. The commercial and industrial property tax will be set at a flat 1% of the property's unimproved land value, with no complicated rate schedules or thresholds. The reform will not apply to commercial or industrial property purchased before 1st of July 2024 and properties primarily used for residential primary production, community services, sport or heritage and culture purposes as coded by the Valuer General. Currently, when you buy or acquire a commercial or industrial property in Victoria, you pay land transfer known as stamp duty. Stamp duty adds to the cost of purchasing property, and when applied to commercial and industrial properties, it discourages business from investing, expanding or relocating operations, impeding growth and productivity. So reforming stamp duty has been recommended by numerous inquiries over recent decades, including the Henry Tax Review, the Productivity Commission and the Grattan Institute. Replacing stamp duty with the commercial and industrial property tax will encourage business to expand or set up in the best location, for example, closer to their customers or where there is a growing workforce, support businesses to invest in buildings and infrastructure and promote more efficient use of commercial and industrial land. So the change means a retailer will be more likely to buy the new premises they need for their business, to take the next step, or a transport company will have more reason to move into that larger warehouse. And often I talk to businesses, whether it's on the peninsula or across Gippsland, who are experiencing growth and looking for more space, bigger premises or more premises that fit the need of their changing or growing business, and they want to make that move. And this change is something that they are absolutely looking forward to, as we've heard back from a multitude of stakeholders. And as we know, across the state, with unemployment low, in the regions, unemployment low, we are just seeing businesses take up the opportunity to grow and expand, and this is something that has been very well received in my conversations across the electorate. So removing the upfront costs on commercial and industrial property purchases will accelerate business growth and boost jobs, with a cumulative increase in the size of the Victorian economy as a result of this reform, up to $50 billion in net present value terms. And looking just at the change in tax revenue over the budget and forward estimates period, businesses will be paying around $260 million less in stamp duty over the next 4 years as a result of this reform. So, look, I just wanted to pick up on some of the comments made from those opposite. There was very, very peculiar comments from Mr Welsh just now, trying to talk down this legislation and change, which again, I note they support. I find it amazing, you know, in all the conversations I have, and I'll take it back to say when the Liberals were last in power, talking to business groups, talking to industry, it was very clear that between Doolittle and nap time, nothing happened in this state. We stood still, and the effect of that was we went backwards. We went backwards. And since this side has come to government, we have seen unemployment reduce, we have seen new business numbers increase, and those opposite are stuck, absolutely stuck in their ideological positions, unable to engage with what the community wants, community needs. They are stuck and welded to their ideologically extreme think tanks that don't match the wishes, the desires, the needs of the community, and don't actually match the needs of our economy either. And this is why we hear them on the other side being negative. My puns aren't as good as Mrs Broad's, but I think, you know, the coalition captures it pretty well. There is no substance, and I've referred to it before. The fact that there are no values for a party to draw on, to inform policies. There is no policy, and that is why nothing of substance comes to this place. It is only ever a reactionary negative. It doesn't matter what is bought, it is negative, and very often it is on the ideological extreme. And that's why people, when they're in the community and they look at the Liberal Party, just as they will tonight, for the multitude of those watching on, they will just see more negativity. And there was, you know, an incredible, you know, and the negativity just keeps coming. And all these comments, these one-liners over here before, you know, talking about, you know, saying that Labor don't support the regions. You know, our 4 last premiers, and you've heard me say this recently, the 4 last premiers have been from the regions, whether investing in our fair affairs, whether we're investing in the infrastructure, the services in regional Victoria. I talked about the Doolittle and Naptime governments that did nothing but stand still. So at best, the Victorian people know that they will get nothing from the Liberals. At worst, they'll get a repeat of the Kennett government, where the trains were ripped out, the services were pulled out. It was slash and burn, and you know it, Mr McCracken. You may laugh, but you know what we did last week? We celebrated 20 years since the Bairnsdale line reopened. It's fantastic, absolutely fantastic, and our communities absolutely trust and know that we will deliver when it comes to housing, education, health, our road networks, our infrastructure. Thank you, Mr Berger. And exactly the thing that my colleague Mr Galea talked about in our inquiry, talking to regional communities, being out in regional communities, talking about the $2 billion regional fund with $1 billion for regional housing, $150 million for worker accommodation, a brilliant program that acknowledges the demand for workers the business demand for workers, which this bill is ensuring that businesses can upsize and upscale and have flexibility in their business arrangements, and we're making sure they have the workers where they want to run their business in regional Victoria. So this sort of negativity that we hear from the Liberal Party, trying to paint this bleak picture, that they love a bleak picture, they don't want to, they don't want to see the state prosper, is absolutely out of context, and Victorians know it. Victorians absolutely know that the best they'll get out of the Liberal Party is nothing will happen, and the worst they will get is a repeat of the Kennett years. So again, I'm proud to support this bill. This bill brings absolute common sense. It brings backing from analysts, from business, and it is another great way that the Labor government is getting on and supporting the Victorian economy. Thank you, Acting President.